Welcome to the Grumble and Grouch Show, episode 4. And we just finished watching M3GAN.
It's more like Whack Chucky, bro.
Yeah, so what say you, Grouch? What did you think?
Good Lord, that was the worst movie I have ever seen in my entire life.
I was shocked. The amount of positive feedback and reviews I heard for this movie was, oh, it's really good. It's a great modern horror story. It's excellent. Like Critical Drinker, who I used to respect, said this was like an amazing, great horror.
Used to respect it.
Yeah, no, all the respect's out the window now. This freaking guy. I was really, really disappointed. I kept waiting for the movie to get good. Well, give it a chance. Grouch was doing his usual, complaining. Just wait a minute, give it some time. I think it may eventually turn around and can get good.
Listen, I was waiting at the end. I watched all the way to the end. And I sat through like 3.5 minutes of credits just to see like who should get fired from Hollywood.
Seriously,
like,
yeah.
should just quit.
Yeah, get out of Hollywood. This is not meant for you, man. Because that was just some really bad storytelling. Very boring. Very I was literally 50. I think it was 50 minutes in. And we only had one kill, and it was the dog. And you don't even see, how did she kill the dog? I mean, did she choke him out? Did she wrestle with him on the ground for a few minutes? Or how did she kill the dog? They never explain. That was a pretty good-sized dog. And I was thinking, oh, this could be a cool scene. They're going to go at it, duel to the death. M3GAN and the dog. Never happened. All of a sudden, the dog disappears. How did she kill him?
Anyways, before we get to that, I mean, like, let's get started with this whack-ass shit.
Yes, let's get started.
Oh my God, it's the worst movie I've ever seen in my life, man. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to give negative ratings at the end?
At the end, yes. Yeah, not right now though. Let's save the ratings for the very end.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh wait a minute.
So yeah, it starts off where they're she's creating this basically little Furbies, but they call them Furbies, like Furbies, I think it was.
They're like perpetual pets or something like that. Like,
right. Yeah.
Like
and those are basically they were Furbies, slight name change. And they looked, the teeth were grotesque. It was the very disturbing teeth they gave these little things, And then the movie starts off, they're driving off somewhere in the snow, and...
Yeah. And then all of a sudden Optimus Prime comes to say hello.
Yeah, a truck comes out of nowhere, head-on collision. I'm not even sure how the little girl survived. And you see she has some scratches on her face. But, I don't know if people know this, but what happened was, it wasn't because of the accident. The Furby went nuts and started chewing on her face because she had enough of Katie's shit. So that's how the movie begins. And then, so the parents are dead, and so the mother's sister tries to adopt the little girl, Katie. And then, so that's where we begin. Oh, and then the movie also starts where they show the neighbor. The neighbor shows up, typical nosy neighbor, has her business, trying to find out what the neighbor's up to, and peeking over the fence. And also, it's funny when she goes in the house, you immediately know she's like a scientist or something because it's not like Siri, but it's a what was it called?
It's similar to Siri.
It's similar to Siri, yeah. And then she does.
Her name is like Elsa. She's like, Elsa, turn off. Elsa.
Yeah. Elsa does all this stuff. And so what eventually happens is the girl's mother's sister tries to adopt Katie. And so what happens is she brings in, or I think assigned, a counselor or a psychologist to try to find out if she would be a good fit, if Katie would be a good fit to live with Gemma. So what happens is the counselor shows up, and she's the sister's a little apprehensive, not sure how to handle this. So she gives Katie a little toy to play with, and so Katie tries to explain to the psychologist how the toy works, and immediately the psychologist is like, "What? Hey, let her play with the toy the way she wants. This is a free country. She's able to figure out how she wants." But she's like, "I'm just trying to explain how the toy works." She's just trying to explain to the child how the toy works, and the psychologist gets like offended.
Yeah, all she was trying to do was just give her the rules for the toy.
Yeah. So it's so funny because she's like, "Well, how dare you try to explain to her how that toy works, you heartless monster. Like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
man,
That doesn't make sense. Yeah, I mean, every game.
It's like if they were playing Monopoly and she's just like throwing the dice on the wall or something.
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
like,
Hey,
there's gotta be some
let her.
rules.
Yeah, let her play the way she wants to play it, man. You know. So at some point, she's working for a design company that designs Furbies, like they said they call them, but they're Furbies, a little robotic.
Yeah, perpetual pets.
Perpetual pets, just to keep a little kid company and have fun with. Asian head designer shows up, and I guess he's not very pleased with the way things are going. Their Furbies are way too expensive, and they have a competitor who is half as expensive as their toys are. So now, as being the head designer, she gets hell from this Asian guy. So M3GAN is introduced, head designer or whatever, and I guess he's not that impressed.
Yeah, she tries to show off M3GAN, like the first prototype of M3GAN, and then M3GAN starts like acting up. She looks like
Eventually, her head blows
yeah,
up.
she looks like she's chewing bubblicious gum and stuff, and then her head like blows up.
Right.
And then the Chinese guy gets like really pissed.
Yeah, he feels like this is a wasted effort, and
money.
He might just fire all of them. You know, who knows?
Yeah. They should fire the people that made the movie.
Yeah.
That's the first people to go.
So then eventually they take M3GAN home because she feels like since she's not the mother, the child, Katie, should have some kind of companionship, some kind of friend. So, and also to test out M3GAN with her child.
It's also a line that the little girl said, right? The little girl said, if I had a toy like this, I wouldn't need any other toy in the world.
Right.
And I think that's what inspires the Gemma.
Right. That's what. Yeah. That's what inspires them, to create this whole M3GAN line, or potentially create.
Or just to keep working on it, not to give up,
Right.
even though like her head blew up. I found it so funny when they finally introduced M3GAN to the Chinese guy, right? And they're trying to convince him that this is such a good idea. M3GAN, she starts drawing on a sheet of paper, and she was like, "Hey, little girl, can you guess what I'm drawing?" I try to guess. I thought it was a freaking triangle, man.
Yeah. The movie. One of the funniest scenes of the movie is they're at a table, and they're trying to see what this girl can do in front of a bunch of in front of the Chinese guy or one of the head designers or engineers or whatever. And he's like trying to impress other people who might possibly invest in this company. So she grabs a pen on a piece of paper and she literally does like a triangle on a piece of paper. I was like, what could that possibly be? And then she supposedly spills water on it. All of a sudden, it turns into a perfect likeness of the girl, Katie. And you're like, what? How is that a thing? She literally had like four swipes on a piece of paper and bang! You have like a perfect like Mona Lisa drawing of this little girl.
Bob Ross is turning out great,
move over, Bob Ross. You think you could have a quick brush strokes? This freaking broad 4 strokes on a piece of paper, and she has a perfect likeness, of this little girl. And I've heard people saying that this is a comedy. I don't know. Maybe that was supposed to be funny or humorous because she had 4 movements of a pen, and she creates this. I don't know. If that was supposed to be a joke, I didn't find that funny. It was just, what? Why put that in there? It's just really stupid. But that didn't make sense to me. I didn't think it was funny. I just thought it was, what? That's like a head scratcher. I was like, why? No.
She didn't even use that many colors.
Yeah.
This thing was like the most colorful thing I ever seen in my life, man.
That's a freaking magical pen that can do all these different colors. And all she did was move her hand up and down 3 or 4 times.
Tic-tac-toe or something.
Yeah. What happens is at some point, Katie is shooting this little bow and arrow, and she loses her arrow. And she asks M3GAN, hey, help me find my arrow. And she sees it's like partially in the neighbor's yard through a hole in a fence. So M3GAN reaches out to grab the arrow and is attacked by this dog. And that's why there's beef with this dog. So while going through that, the dog, I guess, chews her neck. And now she gets... she goes a little haywire. Because a dog bites her in the neck, now she's all of a sudden a villainous. After that, her demeanor changes. She's like a different robot. She's completely different, which I thought was really silly. It's almost like she's now a completely different person, a completely different robot because of a bite, because she's malfunctioning now. So now because you malfunction, now you're going to be bloodthirsty, almost like a fucking bloodthirsty pirate who's just out for, murder and revenge.
Hey man, The Last of Us, one bite turns you to zombies, so you never know, man.
Yeah, well, okay.
She got the rabies virus, bro. She was weird.
Yeah. And to be honest, one thing I didn't like either is there were some jump scares in here. Like the dog jumps on the window.
Yes, but if you actually seen any scary movie, that's not a jump scare.
It goes
man.
to territory maybe. But
No, that was the weakest jump scares
Yeah.
ever. Like, if you actually a fan of horror movies, like we are,
Yeah.
Did that even like surprise you? Like you knew it was coming.
True,
There's
yeah.
no jump scare. Like you call it a jump scare, but realistically, it's just
Yeah, I mean, the ill-placed jump scares, like, they pull up to the driveway, bringing Katie to her new house, and the dog jumps on the window of the car, and, of course, it's big, bombastic music. We're just, oh, my God, what the hell? What? Weak. Why would we be scared pulling to the freaking driveway of this house? Why put that jump scare in there? It's just a cheap way to get the audience to be on the edge. Mm-hmm. Very, very poorly executed.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so it takes about 50 minutes in. 50 minutes before we get any kind of real interesting, exciting scene. Up until then, very, very boring, very drawn out. We get the idea she's making this robot, and eventually she wants to sell on the market for people to buy it. You could establish that like 15 minutes. So 50 minutes in.
50 minutes I'll never get back.
Yeah, exactly. So 50 minutes, we finally get a little action. She feels like the psychologist says to her, I think it's important that your now daughter needs to have some kind of like human companionship or being friends with other people her own age, her own peers. So enough with the robot because it stunts her development as a human. So they say, okay, you know what you need to do is you need to go out with other people your own age. So he puts her in a camp to meet other people of her own age, to have fun with them. And so, of course, they have to bring M3GAN, and M3GAN's left to sit with a bunch of toys and
a whole bunch
stuff.
of teddy bears. Who brings that many teddy bears?
Yeah, there's a lot of teddy bears, like massive, like teddy bears.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of huge teddy bears that she's... So they put her with all of these stuffed toys or whatever. Now, of course, that's another thing about I despise about Hollywood is the amount of cliches that they have to throw at us. Can't they come up with a new maybe trope or a new way of figuring out to create like a conflict? But as always, it's the same freaking conflict. You got to have a bully. And this bully is, I don't know what his motivation is because he's just a horrible person, but he sees Katie wandering around the woods. Now he's got to go mess with her. And of course, like a freaking... the minute the bully starts messing with Katie, like a little freaking ninja, M3GAN shows up out of the mist to deal with the bully.
Yeah, she told all the teddy bears, hey, I'll be right back. Save my seat.
Yeah.
Come on.
Save my spot. I'll be right
my
back.
spot.
I got to deal with something.
And where are all the other kids,
Yeah.
man? Like,
There's like
can
hundreds.
you really be that
There were-
alone?
Yes, there were about 100 kids in this woods. All of a sudden, as soon as a bully shows up, all of the other kids are disappeared. It's just Katie and this bully.
He bullied them all, man.
Yeah.
They're all gone.
Of course, like I said, as M3GAN shows up to deal with this bully, and first of all, the bully like, drags her off. I'm not sure what his end game is. The bully, because the bully M3GAN will not talk to anyone else other than Katie and Katie's mother's sister. So the bully just drags her off into the middle of the woods, takes her shoe off. I'm not sure what he's trying to do there. I don't know what's going on there. And then finally she wakes up and she confronts the bully. And I didn't realize how elastic the earlobe is because she pulls that about like 12 inches from this kid's head and it's still intact.
God.
You know, eventually I guess she rips it off. And let me tell you, for a bully, this kid's a freaking stud. He took getting his ear ripped off like a real man. He didn't even whimper, but he's off. He's off running. So he runs off. He goes onto the freaking road and with M3GAN in hot pursuit. And of course, as usual in this movie, about 1,000 cliches, runs off to the street. Here comes a big truck, kills the little kid. Okay, so the kid is dead.
M3GAN actually says he's in a better place.
And here's another thing I thought was really, again, bad writing in these freaking movies. So yeah, okay, let's say the kid is dead, fine. There's no real proof that M3GAN had anything to do with it. So the cop says, oh, but you know what, though? We found that kid's earlobe a couple 100 yards from the highway. How did they find that shit? And the cops are like, all right, guys, spread out. This kid's got a missing earlobe. And we're not going to let this go unturned. Everyone spread out. I didn't see 2 earlobes on this kid.
Meanwhile, if you really think about it, if a truck hits you that hard, I mean, your limbs are all over the place.
Yeah. But listen, I guess these cops thought, I'm not going to leave this site until we find this kid's missing earlobe. So spread out, guys. We're going to find this freaking kid's earlobe. That's so stupid. They evidently go in the woods. They go to the woods and they find the kid's earlobe. And they bring the evidence back and it says, hey, did you know this kid's missing an earlobe? Says to the mother's sister, Gemma. Says, Gemma, did you know that we found that kid's earlobe 200 yards from the crime scene? And if I would have been Gemma, I would be like, hey, maybe a crow picked that shit up, flew south of that shit and fell out of his beak. How do you know? How do you know that M3GAN had anything to do with that shit? How do you immediately know M3GAN tore that kid's ear off? How? Why would you assume that? It makes no sense. Why would the detectives think, is that robot? Oh, the only evidence they had is a dog is missing. And other than that, how do you know M3GAN, a robot, had anything to do with that? That's a big jump of fucking, a big leap of faith. Oh, because your neighbor's missing a dog, meaning I think your kid, M3GAN, took that earlobe off that kid's head and chased him onto the road. How? How do they gather that information? How do they think that's a thing? Or how do they figure that, oh yeah, M3GAN chased a little boy onto the road and took his earlobe and threw it 200 yards away?
Hey.
Maybe that's why this is a comedy. Because that's freaking ludicrous.
A comedy that didn't make me laugh, man.
Yeah, exactly. I kept hearing this is a comedy, this is a horror comedy.
Where's the laughs? I thought it was more like a Disney movie because all the singing and lullaby.
Yeah, there's like three songs. Yeah,
there was at one point like M3GAN starts dancing and stuff. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that just made no sense. Yeah, it was just literally just to put it into let's make her dance. Wouldn't that be cool, guys? Oh yeah, that'd be so amazing. Let's make her dance.
Yeah, man, it was the worst.
It was really. Listen, I don't want everyone to get the impression that we're just here to bash movies, but it just so happens
that is the impression.
No, well, that maybe, but I honest to God, I thought this movie, I was like, this is our 4th one now, and I thought, this could be the one that we turn the corner, where all of a sudden, hey, we finally found something that's pretty good. We have to change the name of the channel because this is a really good movie, and I'm gonna nothing but praise. And I went into this thinking, this could be it, man. This could be the one.
All because of Critical Drinker.
All because of Critical Drinker and a couple other critics who said this movie is great. You guys got to see. This is a must-see. Really, really inventive, original horror. Absolute garbage. Same shit I've been seeing for the last 10, 20 years. Nothing original at all. Nothing. Very disappointing. I can't wait to get to my score on this one. It's going to be very poor. Very, very bad movie.
Rumor says the neighbor's still looking for her dog right now.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 scenes.
Huh?
Remember the dog's name?
Dewey or something?
Yeah, it's like Dewey. Dewey. There's like 3 or 4 scenes.
I found Louie and Chewy, but I didn't find Dewey. I found Uncle Scrooge, but I didn't find Dewey, bro.
Yeah. Freaking get another dog, man. Dewey was so special.
You make Dewey sleep outside.
Yeah,
man.
listen. If you really love your dog, you pull that sucker in the garage.
Give him some Purina or something, bro.
Yeah, like, no. Leave him out of the freaking little dog house. No, you really don't love your dog. I'm sorry. No, Dewey's in a better place.
Yeah. Dewey is in a better place. The rumor says, man, legend says she's still looking for Dewey.
Yeah. Well, the way I understand it, the legend goes, when it's a cool, moonless night, you could still hear her call out his name. Dewey! Dewey! Dewey!
You can't come inside!
What?
Oh my god. That dog is in a better place, like you said.
Yeah.
Right? Even if dogs don't go to heaven.
Yeah.
Right? Oh
Still got even better than this fucking dog house like poor dog was in.
Oh my god, in the dirt? He's like rolling around the dirt.
Yeah.
His toy was the hole in the fence, bro.
Yeah. Okay, so because of all of that shenanigans with a neighbor, so what happens is eventually M3GAN realized that neighbor's got to go. I got to kill that neighbor. M3GAN figures out, hey, I got to kill that neighbor. So what she does is she goes over to the neighbor's house and impersonates poor Dewey, you know.
Woof.
Tarnishing Dewey's good name. So the lady...
Dewey's turning his grave. Yeah. Next to Bob Ross. Next to Bob Ross, man. Yeah. Dewey's turning his grave.
Yeah. So what happens is she thinks that the dog is in the garage. So the old lady, the neighbor lady, goes in the garage and she's calling Dewey.
That's what the legend says.
Yeah. So she calls again for Dewey, but you realize, it's actually M3GAN in disguise.
This is the scariest thing I've ever seen.
At this point, I was at the edge of my seat. Could that be Dewey? Is Dewey still alive? Safe and sound? But no, Dewey unfortunately is indeed dead. Poor Dewey. So what happens is you see M3GAN come out of the shadows.
Well, I guess this is the comedy part for real, though. Come on.
Oh my! There's two scenes. This scene, and another scene.
Critical drunk man.
Yeah. This is why they think the pen scene when she literally scribbles like 4 times on a piece of paper creates like the fucking Mona Lisa. That is ridiculous and ludicrous. I mean, people thought that was funny. I didn't. I don't know why people think it's funny.
I found it amazing.
Yeah. And then this scene grabs a power washer, like your typical power washer, and shoots it at the lady. And she flies across the entire garage, I want to say 20 feet into the freaking wall.
Bro, I've tried a power washer on the oil stain in my garage, and I can't even get that.
Yeah,
right,
I have to aim my power washer for at least 20 minutes to get that little stain out. Meanwhile, she shoots one shot. It's like, I wouldn't even say a shotgun blast is less effective than this power washer.
You thought Bruce Lee kicked her in the chest, man.
Yeah, so this broad 30 feet into the wall or into the garage. And she grabs, I don't even know I think it was like insecticide or something.
Bro, 1-inch punch, bro.
Oh, yeah. And then she also grabs nail guns. So she grabs a nail gun, shoots her. That's another thing, too. So you're telling me the power washer was not only on, but it was plugged into the water hose. That's convenient. Yeah. And then the power gun, the nail gun, was plugged in, ready to go. Shoots her with that.
With nails.
With nails loaded. And then she grabs the insecticide. Again, that's fully loaded, ready to go. Maybe she has 2 hoses hooked up to the insecticide thing.
Bro, you shoot me with a nail gun, I'm just going to run away, man. I'll be like, ouch, man. And I'm just going to run away.
Yeah. That's another thing that made me think this was a comedy was, up until this point, all that happened to this lady was she was shot with a very, very powerful power washer. She was hit with a very powerful power washer that launched her. You may have some kind of internal bleeding, maybe, but that would take a couple hours to kill you, realistically. So she got power washed. She's on the ground. Nail gun to the hand. Not fatal wound. And then she hits her with some insecticide, and she's dead. What? Come on. Insecticide, a nail to the hand, and you're dead now?
On the bright side, she found Dewey.
She finally got reunited with Dewey.
Dewey, there you are, Dewey.
Where have you been? So actually, that was like kind of a happy ending for Dewey and the neighbor. They're both in a better place. At least he doesn't have to live in that.
Even Dewey's ghost not allowed to go inside, bro. He's got to sleep outside.
Yeah, even in heaven, he's got a miserable doghouse.
Well, the old lady's like, all right, Dewey, I found you. Stay outside.
Yeah. The sun's going down. Back to your doghouse.
No food for you.
You know what? It's so funny, too. The better place might be the junkyard down the street. Maybe Dewey was like, "Yes, I'm out of here, man."
Yeah.
Maybe in the scuffle with M3GAN, all that happened was that, I don't know if you noticed, he had like one of those things around his neck to shock you when you got off your yard. Maybe in the scuffle, M3GAN knocked off his little thing that shocks you when you leave the yard. He's like, "Yes, freedom!" And fucking Dewey's living in a junkyard down the street.
Yeah, he's in a better place. Damn old lady.
Yeah. Okay. But to be honest, this movie I think was your typical by the numbers horror movie.
What horror?
Yeah.
What horror?
There was virtually no horror. I guess at the end when they were duking it out and she grabbed some power tools again, I just love how all these power tools are plugged in automatically, you know? Everything's automatically plugged in. She said, hold it, let me find the outlet, you know? It's so funny too because it was a hedge trimmer. And the hedge trimmer you're telling me was plugged in the garage? There's no hedges in there. Why would that thing be? That's what I'm saying. Maybe we were nitpicking, but it's just
I don't know, man.
silly.
20 minutes left, and I was hoping M3GAN would come and kill me, man. Okay, send me off with Dewey, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go play with Dewey, man.
Another funny thing I thought about this movie too is when M3GAN is taken away from Katie, which was the daughter, she really loses her shit. She's like throwing these tantrums, kicking the seat, screaming, cursing. I didn't see that much drama when her parents died. Oh, well, my parents are gone. What can you do? But M3GAN is taken away, not even for like an extent, maybe like, hey, we're just going to take M3GAN away for like a day or two. The daughter loses her shit. What? Calm the fuck down. You're going to miss her for a day. I'm not saying you're never going to see her again. That was silly too.
And they needed M3GAN because they were about to showcase her in front of the whole world.
Right.
Which she comes out on the news, like a news outlet, and then I was thinking, like, where's Anderson Cooper, man?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a news report. I was like, what? How could you not hire Anderson Cooper? That's one of the greatest freaking.
He's the most affordable guy in movie land, bro.
He is
in
by
Hollywood.
far the cheapest news anchor money can buy. That's another thing too. I thought was very. I guess if you didn't have this premise in the movie, they wouldn't have a movie. But why make M3GAN literally almost as powerful as freaking Terminator? She's supposed to be a little girl, maybe like 10, 12 years old. She is like manhandling people and choking people out and killing dogs and all this. And she, at one point, she pulls on this cable to raise this guy's body in the air. He must weigh like 200 pounds with one arm. She's like pulling this guy. Why make her so powerful? She's a toy. Shouldn't she be... Let's just say, for argument's sake, one of these toys goes rogue. You're telling me she can take out like an entire police force or something single-handed? That was silly, I thought. But I guess if they didn't put that, you wouldn't have a movie. But that's just silly. It just takes me out of it. Why make this little doll, supposedly a doll, like this super overpowered, strong, you know, it was ridiculous.
You know who else was plugged in?
Who's that?
The freaking robot, man. The stupidest scene in the movie, man.
Oh,
come on,
yeah. At the very end of the movie, at the very beginning, they show off that one of her previous prototypes.
Was it Bruce?
I think it was Bruce, yeah. Maybe that is it.
Yeah?
Yeah. She has like a prototype of a robot. And it's huge, maybe like 7 foot tall robot. It's very bulky, typical looking robot kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And watching this too, I had a feeling, we're probably going to see Bruce having to mix it up.
You thought that? Yeah?
Yeah. I was like, okay.
I didn't.
Yeah, why introduce this character unless you're going to use him at the end?
Yeah, I stopped paying attention.
Yeah.
Bruce, man.
So, yeah, at the very end of the movie, when Gemma is in conflict now with M3GAN, and she's using all these power tools to try to fend off M3GAN, here comes Katie to save the day.
With some power gloves.
Yeah, and she's like, that's enough of that. And then she hits her fists together, activating this robot, Bruce, giant robot, and then she attacks M3GAN. Now it's robot. And you know what else I had vibes with was, maybe it's just me, but it reminded me of Aliens. When Ripley gets into the robot to take on the alien. Very similar. I don't know why, but it reminded me of that. Now this robot, because she's controlling it, now attacks M3GAN. And again, typical shit. Of course, she's getting pounded in the dirt. And then, so M3GAN is now cut in half, basically. And you think, as most viewers probably go, oh, okay, wow, that's great. She's dead. Typical Hollywood shit. Of course, she's not dead. She's laying behind this thing. And oh my God, here she comes. Look at her. She's still alive.
I don't understand.
Who saw that coming?
Like, seriously. if you can't outrun a person with no legs, just give up, man.
She's just using her 2 front arms to drag herself. She no longer has control of Bruce because now she's nervous. For whatever reason, now she's nervous. And so Bruce falls over, and now it's the little girl versus M3GAN. And, you think the little Katie's dead, done for. Nope. Here comes Gemma out of nowhere, smacks her down. And then now, Gemma's in trouble. Oh no, but here comes Katie
screwdriver
to save Gemma's life with a screwdriver to the core of her brain or whatever. Unbelievable. How? I didn't see that coming at all. Who would have guessed?
You know what I didn't see coming? Me staying awake through this.
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming.
You know who? Yeah. This movie was... I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this movie sucked. This movie was terrible.
No, that was the worst movie I've ever seen.
Oh, it was terrible.
Oh, did you see how they try to advertise M3GAN 2?
Oh no, how did that?
You didn't see at the end, Elsa.
I heard like a noise or something.
Was it Elsa? I forget the robot's name.
M3GAN
Lights up and sees them walk away or something like that.
I think I literally looked away in disgust at that point. I was like, I had enough. I don't want to watch anymore. I don't get why they made this robot stronger than fucking the Terminator. She's lifting guys up, tossing guys around, choking this girl out. What the? Why? She's a toy. She should barely lift her own body weight and then leave it at that. Why should she lift up a fucking car? It's just... So scenes 2 is like... Another thing I didn't get is why would they allow her to tap into like cars? At some point toward the end of the movie, she like taps into this Corvette or something, and she just jets in the car and she drives to Gemma's house. Again, why put that in there? Why is she so powerful that she can tap into cars, tap into
artificial intelligence?
I guess I don't know. That's stupid. Also, I thought was really dumb is. Just because she malfunctions, she has to turn into this like diabolical, villainous, like she's like the head of Spectre from fucking James Bond movie. She sits at the piano and she's like, remember this song? And she's like playing on the piano. It's again cliched. It literally she's like a Bond villain all of a sudden. It's just I was waiting for her to have like a cat sitting in her lap and like petting the cat. All right, let's get to the ratings. So, what say you? 1 out of 10.
Me?
Yeah, let's start with you, Mom.
Good Lord, that was unwatchable, man.
Unwatchable.
I would not recommend this movie to anyone in the world. Like this was, poor Dewey. I'm thinking like 0.5.
No. No. So it's a 1 then? You can give it a 1.
I can't give it a negative, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, I guess a 1.
Because it had a couple of redeeming scenes, so I'm just going to give it a 2. I'm giving it a 2 because it had a couple of redeeming scenes, but not enough to really get it out of the, 2 category. Listen,
total nonsense.
This movie is indefensible. Garbage. Well, that's pretty much it for this episode of the Grumble and Grouch Show. Thanks to everyone who watched this far, and we hope to see you in the next one.
The Grumble and Grouchy Show.